On September 5th, 2025, a single gunshot shattered the crime at Utah Valley University. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk, just 31 years old, was fatally shot while speaking to students on the campus tank. Today, we break down what happened, who's been arrested, and what this means for the political discourse in this country, United States of America. The shooting was swift, calculated, and devastating, right? Witnesses say a bullet came from the rooftop and nearly 200 yards away. Could collapse after being struck in the neck. He was rushed to the hospital, but he did not survive. After a 36 or 38 hours manhunt, authorities have arrested a 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah. According to reports, a whole lot of reports coming out, Robinson was torn in by his own father after a minister, one of the men of God, and who also work in law enforcement, recognized him from the FBI released surveillance images. So after minister recognized Robinson, maybe he told his father that, look, they're looking for your son, and the father urged the son to turn himself in. The FBI, that is the Federal Bureau of Investigation, right, recovered a high-power boat action rifle from the wooded area near the scene, okay? They also collected forensic evidence, including a palm print or footprint and a forearm imprint. Officials described this shooting as a targeted attack. Kirk was speaking as part of his American Comeback Tour, hosted by Turning Point USA, the organization he co-founded. President Donald Trump, the President of the United States, called Kirk a matter of truth and freedom. Vice President J.D. Vance accompanied Kirk's body back to Arizona and Bold Air Force 2. The funeral of this guy is expected to draw national attention because the political violence in this country is on the increase. And I don't want to pretend to say this is the first time. Maybe a few months ago, there were a bunch of people, two people were killed in Minnesota. Pennsylvania State Governor Josh Shapiro house was firebombed. So this is something that has been happening in our country. When you go way back, think about 1963, John F. Kennedy and the Kennedy family in 68. You think about John F. Kennedy. You think about Martin Luther King. These are all incidents that came out of our political discourse in this country. So this is not an isolated situation, but we have to turn down. Politicians always say, oh, we got to turn down the political rhetoric. But this is something that has been going on forever. So this 22-year-old boy, Robinson, is expected to face federal charges. Investigators are still piecing together the motive because everybody wants to know why. But the political climate surrounding the shooting has reignited the debate about safety, freedom of speech, and extremism. Everybody trying to figure out why. Why did he do it? I know people want to know his political affiliation. That's going to be, is he a Democrat? Is he a Republican? This argument still have it in the background. But the thing we got to realize is, this is no funny matter. We have to turn down the political temperature. We have to. This is a 22-year-old boy who has a lot of opportunity, lot of going on for him in his own life. But he took an arm at 200 yards, one shot. Trained. He's not a novice when it comes to. I'm just speculating. But if a guy can take a shot at 200 yards, or one shot at the neck at somebody, that guy must know about firearm. That guy must know about shooting. I don't know what his background is because I'm not going through to see. But it would not surprise me when he have had some, military training or some law enforcement training. It would not surprise me because that's a snapper like shooting. Even if he didn't go through any military training, he must have learned how to shoot guns because that was a really, 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 really devastating shot that I got took. Charlie Kirk was a polarizing figure. There is no doubt he was a polarizing figure. But to many, he was a voice for conservative youth. His death is a tragedy. And the arrest marked only the beginning of the long legal and cultural reckoning. So as I already said, Charlie Kirk, Charles James Kirk, was born in Illinois, Arlington Heights in Illinois in October 14, 1993. And he went to school, he attended the Willie High School. He went to briefly enrolled at Harper College, but dropped out to pursue his political activity. So you see, he dropped out of college, right? So there's a guy who was very farsighted. He formed his Turning Point USA at the age of 18. I don't want to draw any parallel between his death, Jesus Christ, and John F. Kennedy, not John F. Kennedy, but Martin Luther King Jr. But these are all guys that were killed in the 30s. He formed this thing when you're 18 years in 2012, Turning Point USA, okay? And when he created this thing, and it also has, Turning Point also has branches all across the world, not across the world, but in many countries, in many countries. And he also a host of his podcast, they call the Charlie Kirk Show, one of the top conservative podcasts and radio program in this country. So, folks, there you have it, right? We are in this country where your political view can have you killed or injured, hurt, whatsoever way you want to describe it. Your political views can have you hurt. But we have to start teaching our people, young people, especially so. I be a Republican, you be a Democrat. Doesn't matter. If somebody says something, it's the way you internalize it. That's what makes you angry. We got to start teaching young people. If a Republican wins as president of the United States or as senator of your state, or representative of your district, or Democrat wins as the governor of your state, senator of your district, he or she is still an American citizen. Maybe you will benefit more from that person's policy than the person you are supporting. We have this system in place so we can have the opportunity to choose who we want as a people. If your guy doesn't win and the other person does win, he stay or she stay part of this country. He stay or she stay your president or your representative or your senator. Why do we get so angry, especially those of us who are not going to benefit in any way directly from these people's policies? We get so angry, fighting each other, killing each other, hurting each other because of the present political views that are different from yours. We have to remember that we are in a market where there's a competition of ideas. And everybody has to compete, has to sell their ideas. I tell you how they feel. Once we are not inciting people to violence, once we are not killing anybody, let's listen to each other. So I don't want to bore you with all of these things that have been happening, but let me just go back to 2011, right? Gabby Giffords, you remember Gabby Giffords? A Democratic congresswoman from, I think, from Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. She was shot in the head while meeting with constituents. She survived and became gun control advocate. You remember Gabby Giffords in 2011? No, guy, Steve Scalise. You remember Steve Scalise? He was a Republican majority whip. Remember Steve Scalise in 2017? Shot during a congressional baseball practice, but he survived. Then I also told you about Josh Shapiro, right? Josh Shapiro, that's the governor of the state of Pennsylvania. He's a Democrat. Josh Shapiro, who is this? The person who's supposed to be the most protected person in the state. His house was set on fire while his family were inside. Then we get Donald Trump, as I already said. Donald Trump in 2024, President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, survived 2 assassination attempts during campaign season. Remember that? Then we got Melissa Hortman in 2025. Minnesota State Representative, her husband. Both were fatally shot and killed, fatally shot in a targeted attack. So you see, this thing is both Republicans and Democrats. We got to turn down the political temperature in this country. Folks, my name is Pico Conway. I'm talking about Charlie Kirk killing. And I went down the road, talked about Gabriel Giffords, talked about Steve Scalise, talked about, I didn't mention the CDC shooting. Remember the CDC shooting? And where the shooter opened fire. Nobody know what his motive was. So these things have been going on. Josh Shapiro and other things. Josh Shapiro. So folks, we got to turn down the political temperature. We got to educate our young people that because the person's political view is different from yours, doesn't make you people enemy. Folks, once again, my name is Pico Conway, and just talking about the shooting of this guy and the arrest of the guy who who is responsible, 22-year-old guy from Utah by the name of Tyler Robinson. But we're still getting more information as to why he did this. Before I close, I want to say, my hearts go out to the family of this young man, and we hope that we all can turn down this the political rhetoric and temperature in this country. Until I talk to you folks, stay safe. Bye for now.